The JFK files and the MLK files are a big deal. I don't know what they actually will end up declassifying. We revealed the JFK files. It was George H.W. Bush that assassinated him. If that was the case, I would lose my mind. We're going to talk about President Donald Trump signing an order declassifying the MLK and JFK files. What this means, what's going on. We're going to talk about the drama between Elon Musk and Donald Trump. Elon Musk apparently is furious, or Trump's staff is furious, after Musk criticized the AI project, with one ally saying it's clear he has abused the proximity that he has to the president. And I would say that the fallout is slated to begin. AGI is dangerous, a seriously huge topic. Trump staff furious after Musk trashes AI project. It's because Musk is working for the Chinese, and he wants that Chinese AI to be dominant. That's why. Trump adds to a flurry of new executive orders. Day 3 of the Burger Reich. What has day 3 of the Burger Reich brought us? But let's get started with this.
Very important in just about every case. And it will go through the first one, please.
Do you want to? Yeah, Mr. President, this is an executive order on crypto. We're going to be. Oh, sorry, we're doing AI first. Sorry, Mr. President, this is an executive order on AI. We're basically announcing the administration's policy to make America the world capital in artificial intelligence and to dominate and to.
Bro, this is directly because I feel like China was like, hey, we have our own AI. Also, it's free to use. Also, it's much cheaper. Okay? And I feel like now they're just like, okay, we got to dump as much money as possible. The Chinese AI is called what? DeepSeek or something, right? Isn't that what it is? R1 as opposed to the OpenAI O1 that we have here, DeepSeek. And I think it's frustrated a lot of Americans that China just kind of came in and was like, we're actually going to be dominant in this field and we're going to give it away for free so that America can't monopolize AI or the future of AI technology. And also, open sourcing AI in general, like open sourcing AI in general is probably beneficial to improve the product because the more you use it, the more you train it. And I think that is supposed to be the future of information anyway. It's supposed to be free to use for all to use, really. And the fact that like Americans are looking for a way to put an enclosure around that sort of thing is expected. It's very Burger Reich. And yeah, I don't know how they would even try to stop it, but we'll see. All right, most liberals I know hate AI and want to eradicate it completely. I mean, I'm of two different minds on AI. On the one hand, I believe that artificial intelligence is nowhere near as good as the way that people claim it is right now. On the other hand, I also understand that AI and any sort of technological developments is going to be a good thing. It's not a bad thing, right? That's a good thing. It's a tool, right? It's no different than like Photoshop, right? Which ironically also uses AI to a certain degree. Having said that, however, as all tools of efficiency under a capitalist organization of the economy are used, AI will also be certainly used to, one, greatly improve the surveillance technology that's out there, which I'm going to be talking about as well. I tweeted about it last night. And two, and perhaps more importantly, AI, not only in the interim, but just in perpetuity, will be utilized as a way to displace the existing labor force. All mechanisms of technological efficiency are inevitably used to displace the existing labor force. It's not used to make the labor force more productive and then therefore give them an opportunity to work less for the same pay or even more pay, right? It's used to fire the people that were doing the job and then forcing one person to do the job of 10. There's also the other dangerous side of AI, which is that it's contributing to the climate collapse, right? It's incredibly inefficient in terms of its energy consumption, and that also is not great, especially when you consider how unimaginably cooked the planet is, both literally and figuratively. So I am not a Luddite, although I do have some Luddite tendencies. I would not consider myself a Luddite. I believe in technology. I love technology. I want technological improvements. Okay. I want it. Having said that, however, it's hard to look at the people that control the stuff and assume that they are not evil demons, and assume it's hard to look at the people that control the stuff and assume that they're going to use it for good. Okay. 2024, hottest year on record. Yeah. And 2025 will be even hotter. Every single day in 2024 is the hottest day on record. Was hotter than the year prior, or hotter than the day prior. Sorry. Yeah. So let's continue.
World in AI.
Do you want to say your name, your full name?
David
and
Sachs,
serial?
AI and crypto czar.
David is one of the greatest.
David Sachs is the guy. He made the AI. Oh my! I'm done. This is why I call it the Burger Reich, chatters. This is why. I'm not like the most well versed on like the minutia of Nazi history, but I wonder if there were like Germans at the time who were looking at like Hitler's hand-selected crew and going, that guy's autistic, that guy's gay, every single one of them are on meth. What the fuck are we doing? These guys can't actually run the country at all. Like the fact that we have David Sachs running anything, like the fact that he has any proximity to power is insane to me, okay? It's actually insane. And I think it shows how deeply unserious this government is, okay? Once again, showing why I call it the Burger Reich, okay? This is why I say it's the Burger Reich. It's Reich, it's Hitler, but with burger. Oh, my Lord. Howard Lutnick from Tether is going to be the Secretary of Commerce. Him having a podcast geek as an advisor is nothing in comparison. I mean, we also have Pete Hegseth as the Secretary of Defense officially as of today. So that's like, what am I talking about? Of course, David Sachs is going to be the crypto czar. You know what I mean? Pete Hegseth is the department. He is going to head the Department of Defense. Okay. It's, first ever DUI hire.
The world in AI. Most respected, probably there is.
Yeah, no, totally. Everyone respects David Sachs.
So that should take us to the forefront, right?
Absolutely. We got to win.
Okay.
All right, that's it, dude. I'm staying here. I'm staying here, dude. It's funny because like this country, the United States of America, wrote the constitution of the country that I'm in, Japan, and also uses it like as a vassal state. So there's no escaping America, ironically enough. But, maybe I can just LARP as though this is a world that is not tarnished by the Burger Reich, if you will. God damn, dude. What a stupid design. What a stupid society we live in. I can't get over this David Sachs. Oh my God. You are within nuclear range.
Thank you. And this
Too soon,
David
chatter.
Yeah, this is the crypto EO. We're going to be forming an internal working group to make America the world capital in crypto under your leadership.
Which is really going up, right?
Absolutely.
Oh. I gotta get a coffee. I gotta make a coffee. 1 second. Right. Clown show. America's gonna be the cryptocurrency capital. This guy's gonna change the legal tender, bro. We're gonna do Trump coin.
You
Trump
find that
coin is the new
exciting?
legal tender.
They might not be excited, but we're going to make a lot of money for the country.
Thank you, sir.
And so is David. You have to check him out. There's nobody like this guy. They said, how did you get David Sachs? How did you do that? And he's doing it for the country more than anything else. So we appreciate it, David. Thank you very much.
This is an executive order establishing a presidential commission, an advisory commission on science and technology.
Good. Do you want to explain that a little bit?
The basic idea is to get together top people from government, the private sector, technology industry, as well as educational institutions, to make sure that America maintains its leadership position with respect to science and technology development in the years ahead.
Good.
I was gonna not
good.
do that. Oh no!
Next
now
year,
that
we
the
have a
executive order
presidential
came in,
memorandum,
damn it!
encouraging departments and agencies in your government, including the Department of the Interior.
What do you mean? I was just about to not respect American technological innovation, and now that the executive order came in, I'm like, damn, no! What a brilliant executive order, sir! Thank you so much.
To promote federal recognition of the Lumbee tribe of North Carolina.
I love the Lumbee tribe. So this is their first big step, right?
This would be a huge step for them, sir.
Yeah, they were with me all the way. They were
I brought my
great.
creatine
North Carolina.
and my
Lumbee tribe.
supplements.
Okay, you'll
Bro loves signing, dude. He is a child. He really is a child. He gets to have his big Sharpie and sign those big ass signatures. Like, that's what he's in it for. We know he's like a kid. We're playing make believe. Oh my God. I can't believe every time I see Trump do anything, really, immediately I'm like, how do we get here? How stupid, how much dumber can we get? And then last but not least, God damn the Democratic Party for losing to this twice. Like, those are the only thoughts in my mind anytime I see this baboon, okay? Anytime I see this baboon, I'm like, he is such an awful, repulsive, violent person. And yet the Democrats lost to this. The Democrats lost to this, and it is, God damn it, dude. God damn America, that's in the Bible. That's what I think every time I experience Donald Trump. Yeah, thank you, Barack Obama. Thank you for doing that. Thank you for helping us lose to this guy. Anyway,
send them a
twice.
copy of that.
Yes, sir.
They were great. Okay,
And if you'd like, I could get them that pen, sir, as well.
yeah, let's do that.
Next, we have a set of pardons for peaceful pro-life protesters who were prosecuted by the Biden administration for exercising their First Amendment rights.
Do you know how many?
I believe it's 23, sir.
Wait,
23 people.
there ain't no way, bro. Is he doing one for the 3,100 college campus protesters that was arrested? Is he gonna do that for them too? No, of course not. Let me tell you something, okay? If you are a pro-life protester that got arrested, there ain't no way you were being peaceful. He doesn't know what he's signing. Of course he doesn't know what he's signing. He's a moron. What makes you think this man has any kind of mental bandwidth? I don't think people understand. I think being stupid is a benefit in this situation. Okay? And you don't have to be like particularly brilliant, because the Democrats present themselves as brilliant, but they're also not very intelligent either. And they're annoying. They're annoying. They're rudderless. They have no policies that you can define them by. They just suck. At least this guy has some policies you can define him by. They're just bad. They're bad and violent policies. But people seemingly like it, okay? He's like, oh yeah, what am I signing? How many brave warriors? How many brave warriors? Who gives him the orders to sign? No, this is like all political. He has a team of advisors that get together and they're like, here are some of the impactful executive orders that you can sign that will trigger the libs, that will make you show what your priorities are. They'll help people understand like who you are. Okay? It's interesting because it's interesting to think because it's like everybody knows who he is, right? But the goal here is to basically show that, if you're my guys, if you do these sorts of things, I'll free you, right? If you physically block a Planned Parenthood clinic, if you physically block, teenagers going in to get their pap smear or whatever, or teenagers trying to get an abortion, if you physically and violently block them from entering a Planned Parenthood, and get arrested for it because it's obviously illegal, I'll free you. These are the people he pardoned. Donald Trump pardoned there it is. Yeah. Anti-abortion activists convicted of blockading abortion clinic entrances. Among the people pardoned were those involved in the October 2020 invasion and a blockade of a Washington clinic. Any day now, the egg prices are coming down, chat. Any day, okay? I promise. Any moment now, he's going to sign another one that says, like, egg prices are going down, and then pee-pee poof, eggs are free, okay? Any day now. Oh, that's right. He ain't doing none of that shit. All he's doing is, getting backed up by the corporate oligarchs in the same exact way the Democrats did as well when he railed against them, ironically enough, and do a whole bunch of phony culture war silliness in the way that he's doing right now. This is it. This is what you get. This is what happened in 2016 as well. The impactful legislation is going to come when it comes to greatly accelerating our wars, okay, and even further undermining our standing on the international stage. Even though Biden certainly pulled a number on that, didn't he? He's also going to do deregulation and tax cuts, and that's it. That's what he's here for.
Were prosecuted. They should not have been prosecuted.
Wait, someone said he's not going to declassify the Epstein files. Chatter, what are you talking about? America never declassified stuff while it's ongoing. Okay. Why would he declassify the Epstein files? Half of his cabinet is like Epstein aligned people. Look at Elon Musk. Like, also he is in the Epstein files. Like, why would he? Trump is like, oh, oops, accidentally declassify the Epstein files. Shows right here that Jeffrey Epstein, my friend at the time, used Mar-a-Lago as a hunting ground to find new high school victims. Oopsie. I guess I'm... That's the funniest thing is just like people, people that are Trump supporters that are like, yeah, I hate Jeffrey Epstein. It's like, brother, you love the guy that he was aligned with. Like, I'll say something. I'll be fair to Trump here. Donald Trump, by my estimations, at least personally, stopped involving himself with Jeffrey Epstein far before the Democratic elite did. Okay, that's a fact. You cannot dispute that. Okay, he was linked up with Epstein back in the day, and he absolutely severed ties way before the Dems did. Okay, well, way before a lot of Republicans too. But I'm saying like some very high profile Democrats were very openly aligned with Jeffrey Epstein and Epstein associates. So something to consider there. Okay. Clinton. Ghislaine Maxwell had center stage at Chelsea Clinton's wedding. Chat. Like, come on. Now, having said that, I mean, also Ehud Barak, former Israeli prime minister, because, Jeffrey Epstein may or may not have been a CIA and Mossad asset simultaneously. Who else can I think of that's simultaneously a CIA asset and a Mossad asset? Maybe a guy from Philadelphia? Benjamin? Oh, that's right, Benjamin Netanyahu. Anyway, but that's besides the point. I'm just talking about a bunch of different things here that are totally and utterly irrelevant. How do we get to Jeffrey Epstein? Let's get back to Donald Trump. He's signing stuff. Look at him. He's so giddy. He's such a giddy little boy signing these big papers. He loves it.
Elderly people, they should not have been prosecuted. This is a great honor to sign this. They'll be very happy. So they're all in prison now.
Some are out of custody.
It's ridiculous. Okay?
Lastly, sir, we have an executive order ordering the declassification of files relating to the assassinations of President John F. Kennedy, Senator Robert F. Kennedy, and the Reverend Dr. Martin Luther King Jr.
That's a big one, huh? A lot of people are waiting for this for years, for decades. And everything will be revealed. Okay? Give that to RFK Jr.
Yes, sir.
I just realized that one of the benefits of being in Japan is anytime I get pissed off, upset, angry, mad at the world, I can just get up and look outside and be like, well, at least I'm in Tokyo. You know what I mean? That's a W, right? The marker noises. It's so funny. I love the marker noises. The JFK files and the MLK files are a big deal. It's not. It's not a little deal. It's a big deal. I don't know what they actually will end up declassifying. I doubt that it's like everything. It's probably going to be censored to oblivion. But a lot of investigative reporters will get a lot of decent stuff out of that, I suspect. That's what I think. Like, there's no way that there's like the damning silver bullet in there. You know what I mean? They're not going to. We revealed the JFK files. It was George H.W. Bush that assassinated him. Like, that's not going to happen. You know what I mean? If that was the case, I would lose my mind. Him declassifying is boosting the podcast economy. Oh my God. I didn't even think about that. Oh my God. Oh my God. Donald Trump is the most podcast focused president of all time. And you're right. He's literally doing this to help the podcast economy. Oh my God. Why didn't I think of that? He's such a podcast bro, dude. I mean, he got podcasters all over his administration. He got podcasters up and down his administration. Crazy.
Okay. Okay. Thank you very
Mr.
much.
Mr. President, a U.S. judge temporarily blocks the birthright citizenship order. Do you have any reaction?
No, obviously we'll appeal it. They put it before a certain judge.
Dude, what are you talking about? That is literally one of the most unconstitutional things you've signed as an executive order out of all of the insane things that you've signed. That, of course, is going to be like any judge on the planet who isn't like a complete charlatan is going to be like, yeah, no shit. This is the easiest gimme of all time. Of course a judge is going to strike it down. It's not, at this point, we go back to the same dynamic that we exhibited in the church story that happened yesterday, right? It's like, it's the same principle over and over again for right-wing reactionaries. It's like, it's either, you're either doing the bidding of the worst right-wing people you've ever seen, or you're woke, okay? Everyone's woke. It could be a Reagan-appointed judge, still woke, okay? If you are actually holding the letter of the law, if you're actually doing what you are supposed to be doing in theory as a judge, which is adjudicate, which is actually look at like the constitutionality of certain executive orders such as this one and stop it, then you're woke. There's only two speeds, okay? Whatever Trump wants, whatever the most right-wing shit is, or politics, or political, or woke as a substitute, you know? A judge has temporarily blocked President Trump's order to end birthright citizenship. Judge Kohler, a Reagan appointee, said, I've been on the bench for over 4 decades. I can't remember another case where the question presented it as clear as this one. This is a blatantly unconstitutional order. He's right. Okay? I am not a believer that the Constitution is even worth the paper that it's printed on. Okay? I think that Americans basically treat it like it's religious texture. Okay? They treat it like it's religious scripture. But of course, much like religious scripture, they refuse to abide by the standards set forth, okay? And oftentimes interpret it in whatever ways they see fit, whatever ways that they believe helps their political goals. This is just the case, right? This is just how it is. Having said that, if there are any like, you know, old school judges out there or anyone that like truly does believe the constitutional guidelines, then yeah, they're supposed to look at this and go, this is the most insane thing you've ever demanded. Because it is directly in violation. It is the most, I cannot think of another order that is this overtly unconstitutional. Like straight up, this is not like Republicans back in the day used to do this thing where they would go back and find like some kind of judicial order from like 1793 and be like, well, women are not allowed to wear pants on Sundays, so that's why we have to prosecute Hillary Clinton and put her in jail or whatever, right? Like they used to at the very least like try to make it seem like there was some sort of like legal reason for why they're behaving this way. This right here is just straight up like, that's it. You're just saying like fuck the Constitution, which I don't even disagree with you on that, right? Because I think the constitutional interpretation, like the adherence that conservative judges have to like the actual text is a falsehood. Okay, it's just they want to push a reactionary agenda and they add an intellectual patina to it to try to make it seem like that's the case, right? It's completely made up. The originalist interpretation is just ridiculous, right? So, having said that, this goes beyond that. Like, this literally goes beyond that. It goes above and beyond. And even though, if there was, for example, no argument about like if the Constitution actually, the Second Amendment actually literally said like, and it wasn't a new interpretation, if the Constitution actually said like every American has to have a nuclear weapon or nuclear arms, or just every American must bear arms, right? I would say that's a bad amendment. We need to change it. Like, that's a bad rule. Change it. That's ridiculous. Like, I'm not married to the idea that the Constitution is this like infallible legal document. It's the greatest legal document that's ever existed, right? But having said that, there are some good stuff in there. This would be one of those things, right? Allowing every single person born on U.S. soil immediate American citizenship is pretty solid. It's a good thing. It's kind of kept this country going for quite a bit. It's the reason why I am an American citizen, literally. So, like, there is an air of, I mean, this is like something that I also, weirdly enough, find personally offensive as well. But I don't want to speak about it too much because then the conservatives are going to be like, this guy, okay, well, maybe it's good that Trump is actually taking this away, you know? But it is one of the best American principles. America's built on immigrants. Like, anyway, it's just very, very frustrating to see stupid stuff like this go on. I don't know how else to explain it. It's just like, it's both violent and morally repugnant, but there's also an air of stupidity surrounding everything that makes it worse, kind of. Like, these aren't brilliant people. These are not like really intelligent and really morally repugnant people that are creating sophisticated narratives. It's very simple. It's like, what you see is what you get. I'm going to lie to you about certain things over and over and over again, and then until you believe it. And I can only get away with this because there's no counterbalance. There's no mechanism of pushback. And then eventually, once we've completely destroyed what the truth is, then I'm going to move on and just bludgeon my way into enacting this like ridiculous agenda. I feel like perhaps this is a case of, social circles and misinformation online with no real ways of combating said misinformation. Perhaps it's more complicated than that because like Americans are just getting dumber and dumber year over year. But like, we've basically gotten to a point where you can have a guy like Elon Musk sig heil on the most prominent stage on the planet, and you got tens of millions, if not hundreds of millions of people around the world going, nah, he's not doing that. Come on, dude. Come on. That's crazy. He's not. Okay, dude, what's next? You're going to tell me a South African apartheid guy is racist? Even though he says racist stuff all the time? Come on. Okay. Yeah, sure. Don't believe your lying eyes is the modus operandi going forward.
In Seattle, I guess, right? And there's no surprises with that, Judge.
Mr. President, Senators Collins and Murkowski have now said they will vote against Pete Hegseth.
It doesn't matter. He's still getting through it. They're just doing PR. Oh my God. Oh my God. My senators, my favorite concerned senators, they said they're against it. Oh my God. Well, guess what? He was going through anyway. It don't matter. Guys, they're concerned. Okay? They're very concerned about Pete Hegseth. They got together and they got very concerned about it. Okay?
Are you worried about his confirmation and your reaction?
No. And no surprises there. It's too bad.
Yeah, even Trump knows. He's like, no surprises. Those bitches.
the way it is, too bad.
And when would you adjourn Congress to make recess appointments, Mr. President?
Well, I'd take a look at that. I'd listen to John Thune. He's doing a fantastic job. We're moving along. The Democrats are trying to delay government, as they always do. They can't help themselves. Even John Ratcliffe, who's very, very strong, very popular, and liked by the Democrats. I guess he gets a lot of Democrat votes. That's taking a long time, and it shouldn't be taking a long time. They're maxing everything out so they can delay everything as much as possible.
Does Senator Thune support an effort to use recess appointments if you choose to do that?
I'd be willing to use.
My senator just sent me a campaign contribution letter saying they had to vote for Hexit because I didn't vote hard enough and contribute my yearly 200. Yeah, that's the grossest part about the Democratic tricks. The Democrat tricks is their shameless way. Is the shameless way in which they just like demand more from you. They demand more money from you. Like, it's just not, they didn't even skip a beat. They're just like immediately like, one, you should have voted harder. Two, time to vote for me again. And also give me money so we can win this battle next time around. Even though I will offer you nothing and I will yell at you every step of the way for demanding more from me. Yourself. It's not my fault. It's your fault. It's crazy. It's the consultant class version of tithing in the prosperity gospel, I guess. Incredible stuff, man. Truly, truly brilliant. Truly incredible stuff.
Recess appointments. It's up to John, and we'll see. John Thune's a great guy, great senator, knows his stuff inside out and backwards. But I would use recess appointments if he wants to do that. Absolutely. The Democrats are just delaying. They always delay.
Mr. President, you spoke with the Saudi Crown Prince yesterday.
Who?
The Saudi Crown Prince. How was the call?
Great.
They said 600
It was
million.
great. He's gonna say he's awesome. They have also sex. Like they don't even. It's not him having sex with Vladimir Putin. It's him having sex with Mohammed bin Salman. Dude, calling it again. Saudi Arabia is getting nukes. Whether it's done under a Democratic leadership, which is a little less likely, but still very likely, or under Donald Trump's, mandate, doesn't matter. They're getting nukes, baby. Ain't nobody stopping. Ain't nobody stopping Saudi Arabia getting nukes, okay? 9/11 to electric boogaloo, this time with nukes. Nuclear 9/11. Trump is about to do more streaming hours than you do. What does that even mean? I think that it no longer matters what you think or what I think about Saudi Arabia and its like unjustifiable actions in the region or globally. I think that sports washing is the name of the game. Like they're going to be a dominant force on the global stage. That's it. It's especially with Trump now, like because Brandon still sucked up to the Saudis too, because OPEC plus, obviously. But never to the same degree as like Donald Trump did. And Donald Trump is going to be far worse on this equation. I mean, he literally came into office. First thing he did was like, all right, the Ansar Allah movement is now officially a foreign sponsor of terror. Like it's not enough that the Biden administration has slapped on with Operation Prosperity Guardian, the terrorism designation. He elevated that designation once more. And that designation initially came under the Trump administration because Saudi Arabia was genociding Yemen, and he wanted that they came to Trump and were like, "Hey, can you help us out here?" And Trump was like, "Of course, say no more, fam. I love you. Can you give my son-in-law multiple billions more dollars?" It's very open. Like the graft is so open. It's so transparent. So when people say, "Will you call out fellow streamers who took sponsorships?" I see that in the chat. Like, I'm telling you right now, literally everyone is going to do this. I won't do it, but it doesn't matter. I'm telling you, if your expectation is that like, oh, I can't believe people are doing Saudi sponsorships or whatever, it's done. There's no stopping that, okay? Better than CCP, you are the most delusional person on the planet. If you say, Japan has signs that say no tourists allowed, I hate Red Note better than CCP, what? This guy hates Japan and China. Pick one at least. You know what I mean? What do you mean? No, Saudi Arabia is not better than the Communist Party of China. What the hell are you talking about? It's also very funny to be on Twitch, a platform that is dominated by Chinese-owned video games, and being like, "Oh, I hate that." like the way I see it, the way I see it with like the way I see it with like the Saudi stuff, like I'll give another example. Qatar, right? Qatar has a lot of issues, okay? Nowhere near as bad as Saudi Arabia. Like not even on the same wavelength, right? But of course, slave labor is a major problem still, which also exists in Saudi Arabia as well. But like Qatar's peace offensive or charm offensive has revolved around having this marquee media company, Al Jazeera. Al Jazeera has played a major role in basically doing what Saudi Arabia is trying to do by force and by simply just pumping a lot of money into the process. But the way states work, the way these sorts of states work is like for Qatar, they're a massive place for diplomacy. Like they're considered like a neutral territory for a lot of Middle East diplomacy to happen. They have tremendous amounts of connection with America and specifically Turkey. But also on top of that, they are they've been able to, I guess, quote unquote, elevate their brand with Al Jazeera. These are the types of things that genuinely matter, right? And when I think about that, and I think about all the issues with Qatar, but then I think about Saudi Arabia, I'm like, Saudi Arabia is just like on an entirely different playing field, like overtly against Iran, very obviously openly pro-Israel, has all of the same issues that Qatar has times a million, did a genocide in Yemen. Like it's pretty crazy. And having said that, yeah, did 9/11. That was kind of a big deal too, lest I forget. Having said all of that, I think that it's impossible to go against their, especially in the Trump administration. It's done. Like they are going to genuinely, they're going to become a global player that even Western Europeans cannot scoff over. That's what I'm predicting. Yeah, this More Perfect Union video was so good. I watched this video on TikTok in the bathroom of the LAX Star Alliance Lounge. Like I just had it open. I watched a 15-minute video on TikTok. That's how good this video was. We'll get into this in a little bit. It's just like perfectly summarizes all the things that I've talked about for years.
600. I'll ask him for $1 trillion.
You said you can ask for $1 trillion. Will Saudi Arabia be the first foreign country you will visit since they invest in that much?
Well, if they do that, I would, yeah. I would be glad to do that. I did it, as you know, 4 years.
One of the princes in Saudi is a massive weeb, so they're not all bad. No, dude, I'm not. Dude, yeah, they're, lest you forget, they're just regular ass dudes as well. Just, you know, sitting atop an unlimited amount of money. Like the sovereign wealth fund for the Saudi kingdom is like $900 billion. Okay. But yeah, they're just like rich. That's it. They're in everything too, is what I'm saying. When you got money, you can be in everything. And the Saudis are also in everything. And they're doing a lot. They're doing a lot of investments. But they get to do it because they're a valuable ally to the United States of America. Do you understand? They're a valuable ally to the United States of America. How was Saudi worse than the CCP when it was responsible for the death of millions? Wait, first of all, that's a chatter who said that, and we all laughed at him. No one. I don't even think Saudi Arabia thinks it's worse than the. Wait. Saudi Arabia doesn't even think that they're better than the Chinese Communist Party. What are you talking about? Like, do you think Saudi Arabia will replace Israel? No, absolutely not. You guys don't understand. The West played a formative role in the development of the Saudi kingdom, like a major role, right? Just as it did in virtually every state that the West designed deliberately. Like, I'm talking straight up cut the border boundaries of, right? Having said that, Israel is a unique project because its inception is comprised of Westerners, okay? That's why it's different. Like Israel is ride or die no matter what. The Americans will never trust the Saudis that much. Like partially because of white supremacy, like white supremacist attitudes, and partially because like wasn't that long ago when Saudi Arabia was not necessarily a reliable ally to American interests anyway, right? As a matter of fact, played a major role in the American economy collapsing. Again, not that long ago. And 9/11 isn't don't say 9/11. America doesn't give a shit about 9/11 like that. Come on. 9/11 was so beneficial for the American state. Get out of here. That, if anything, they love Saudi Arabia for doing 9/11. I'm talking about State Department policy that transcends beyond administrations, chat. Like, that's not, like, 9/11 was basically what Pearl Harbor was for FDR, which was a good thing for FDR to like actually join the Allied front. 9/11 was for Dick Cheney and those neocon monsters who were looking for any reason to go and pick apart the entire region and take all of that sweet nationalized oil in Iraq eventually, as they did, and also simultaneously take out any sort of state actor that was not willing to play ball with American designs in the region, good or bad. Not saying Saddam was a good guy. Same with Assad. You know what I mean? Good or bad, if they weren't fully invested and fully servile to American interests, then they presented a threat to Israel, and therefore, this 9/11 gave them a great opportunity to just, get in there and pack it up to the best of their ability. Anyway, we are maybe clarified that the government of the U.S. Oh yeah, no, I'm not talking about Americans. Americans obviously didn't like 9/11. Okay, I'm talking about the American government. The American government was like, oh, thank God something like this happened, so we can finally go and dominate this region. Oh my Lord, finally some righteous vengeance that we can sell to the finally some righteous vengeance that we can sell to the population. Oh, fantastic. Yeah. Chatters be like, don't you think the American state hates that 9/11 happened? Meanwhile, like, if you ask the average American, they still think Saddam Hussein did it. Isn't that weird? We know the state that played the most formative role in 9/11, and we just ended up attacking all of that state's enemies, kind of. Like, it's just weird. We didn't touch the state that did it, and then decided to go after a bunch of other people that were not a part of the alliance that state had designed, and even added on, mind you, a nation state to the axis of evil that we were relying on for information in combating the actual groups that the state that did 9/11 had infiltrated the region with. All of those, like, ISIS, Salafist style, like all the Wahhabist, all the Salafist militias, they're all a Saudi invention for the most part. Okay? Propped up by the Saudis, backed by the Saudis, logistical support by the Saudis. You know who was fighting them? Like it or not, the Shias. Okay? What do? We decided Iran is actually a part of the axis of evil. They were like, wait, hold up. What do you mean? Wait, what? I'm sorry. You said you're going to go after Al-Qaeda, so we're a part of this? North Korea and Iran in the axis of evil.
We did $450 billion, meaning the money all goes to American companies, and they purchase jets and they purchase computers and everything else. And we did $450 billion, and I guess we're at 650. And I'll see if I can talk him into it.
I don't believe again. You showed great confidence in Steve Witkoff. Why you said that you doubt that the ceasefire in Gaza will hold, since you appraised his
Well, no, I think he's
efforts?
great, but it's a very tricky place. It's very tricky. We'll see. And if something does happen, they will not be happy.
Sir, follow up on that one. In terms of Steve Witkoff, are you going to put him in charge of Iran's strategy, and do you want him talking directly with the Iranians?
No, but he's certainly somebody I would use. He's done a fantastic job. He's a great negotiator. He's a very good person, a very popular person, gets along with people. I have great negotiators.
Steve Witkoff is kind of the GOAT, by the way, for some of the things that he said. I don't trust them. I don't trust the Trump administration as far as I can throw them, but I'll keep it $150 here. Steve Witkoff came out and was like, one, the Qataris are incredible. I work with them. I love working with them. They played a great job. Two, I want to talk directly to Hamas, bring them to me. I think that must happen. And now literally everyone that's pro-Israel are losing their minds, okay? They're like, you have to fire this guy. You have to fire this guy. You have to fire this guy. I never thought that Donald Trump's golfing partner, okay? Donald Trump's golfing partner, who's a real estate developer shark, would be the sane guy in American foreign policy. And in many respects, it does make sense. Why does it make sense? Because the bar is placed that low by incompetent assholes who have no interest in actually stopping the bloodshed. Not to say that like Trump wants to stop the bloodshed either. I do think that he at least wants to, limit the Gaza impact so that, they can move on to lighting the West Bank on fire, which they're already doing. Like all it took was for someone to be like, oh, you want me to stop this Gaza stuff? Like everyone's yelling about it. It seems like a popular thing to stop it. Yeah, okay. It makes sense. I have the full authority of the American government. All right, I'm just going to go and just be like, stop it. Like it doesn't require a brilliant mind. It doesn't require a particularly brilliant mind to just say, hey, I hold all the cards here. Shut the up. You're done. You're done with Gaza. Forget about Gaza. You know what I mean? Like, that's it. That's all it took. So all of the back and forth for the past 15, 16 months of like, oh, Biden is trying to do it, but it's so complex, you see. There's nuance to it. All this stuff was nonsense. And I told you it was nonsense. It was nonsense. Either you have to believe that all of the Harvard-educated State Department cronies are just awful at doing foreign policy, and Steve Witkoff, a golf partner of Donald Trump from Mar-a-Lago, who's a real estate developer, is this brilliant mind, okay? Or it doesn't take a brilliant mind. It just simply takes someone to say to Israel, the only offending party here, to stop it, to cut it out. That's it. Having said that, I still think that their grand design will probably look nearly identical to what the Biden administration was trying to do, but in the wishy-washy way. What is this? He's talking about Palestine like it's some sort of future vacation land. For Trump, yeah, he thinks it's real estate opportunities. But that creepy podcast told me you're pro-Trump and that Biden actually fought hard for the Palestine. I have no idea what you're talking about. But no, I am not pro-Trump. I think everybody knows I am not pro-Trump. That would be... Dude, anyone that thinks I'm pro-Trump is I mean, yeah, it's funny. Damn, dude, 8 minutes. 8 minutes of Donald Trump going off, rambling, and I've talked about it for an hour and 30 minutes. We haven't even gotten through the first video yet. This was supposed to be about him declassifying the MLK and JFK files. Welcome back, big dog. This is how it is. This is how it is going forward. Trump just says some erroneous, ridiculous, nonsensical bullshit, and then I have to sit here and explain it for 8.5 hours about how that's stupid, it's wrong, how the Democrats also did awful things, but here's why Trump is even worse, yada, yada, yada. Great stuff, man. We're so back. It's going to take away my life force, my remaining life force.
They have no personality whatsoever, and then I have some that do. Steve has a wonderful way about him, and people like him, and even in this case, both sides like him. And he was able to make a deal. That deal would have never been made without Steve. The Biden people couldn't make the deal. They were working on it for 1.5 years. They couldn't make a deal. We got it done prior to the inauguration. We said it has to be before the inauguration. I mean, the deal should hold, but if it doesn't hold, there'll be a lot of problems.
Related to your AI, EO, just hours after you made that big Stardate announcement, Elon Musk tweeted that they don't actually have the money. Is that true?
I don't know if they do, but, they're putting up the money. The government's not putting up anything. They're putting up money. They're very rich people, so I hope they do. And, I mean, Elon doesn't like one of those people. So you're allowed to
Elon and Sam, the girls are fighting. They're both gay.
American jobs.
No. It's going to create tremendous numbers of jobs. It's going to also create a lot of benefits medically for cancer research and other things. It's going to have a huge positive impact. And, we want to be ahead of China. We're right now way ahead of China. David Sachs is one of the all-time experts. That people are amazed that you just met him. I don't know if he's still here. There he is. But one of the most respected people in that world. It's a world. It's a whole different world. And we're ahead of China now because of what I'm doing. And I think it's going to be very successful.
Mr. President, please, you just asked the Davos Forum again that NATO countries should spend 5% of GDP on defense.
Yeah.
The United States don't spend 5%.
Well,
Do you
I
think it
don't
should also
think so.
apply to the United States?
We're protecting them, you know. They're not protecting us, we're protecting them. So I don't think we should be spending, I'm not sure we should be spending anything, but we should certainly be helping them. But they should up their 2% to 5%, yeah.
Mr. President, you said earlier during your speech at Davos that you would like to see interest rates come down. How
Yeah.
much would you like to see them come down?
A
And
lot.
will you talk
I'd
with
like to see them come down a lot, and oil prices will come down. And when oil prices come down, everything's going to be cheaper for the American people and actually for the world, but for the American people. So I'd like to see oil prices come down. And when the energy comes down, that's going to knock out a lot of the inflation. That's going to automatically bring the interest rates down.
Are you worried that there's too much going on?
You said that you would demand.
Are you worried that there's too much going on at once if you're trying to bring interest rates down, get the economy back going?
It just works that way. I mean, it's just economically works that way. When the oil comes down, it'll bring down prices. Then you won't have inflation, and then the interest rates will come down.
You said that you would demand that the interest rates come down.
Well, I would.
Do you expect
I would
the
put
Fed?
in a strong statement.
Do you expect the Fed to listen to you?
Yeah,
Are you going to talk to Powell about this and bring the rates down?
at the right time, I would.
Sir, do you
Yeah.
pardoned that were
That's
participating in
funny.
the January 6, 2021 attack? Do you plan to meet with any of them or meet with them at the White House?
I don't know. I'm sure that they probably would like to. I did them something important, but what they did is they were protesting a crooked election. And, you know, I mean, people understand that also, and they were treated very badly. Nobody's been treated like that, so I'd be open to it certainly. I don't know of anything like that, but I think they're going to meet, in some of the congressmen, women want to meet. But I'd certainly be open to it.
Have you spoken to them since you issued the pardons?
I haven't spoken to any of them yet, but I know they're very happy.
Mr.
I gave them their life back. Their life was taken away from them unnecessarily and unfairly. I gave them their life back, so I can imagine they probably would like to.
Mr. President, what did you mean when you said that Biden took bad advice and not pardoning himself yesterday?
Well, he did. I think he did, because he pardoned all these people that are crooked as hell. Look, the congressmen, they're crooked. What they did is they destroyed evidence. When you destroy evidence, especially criminally like that, they did it criminally. And the reason they destroyed the evidence is because it proved that I was right. They didn't destroy evidence for no reason. They destroyed it because they found many documents saying that I offered 10,000 soldiers. If they had 500 soldiers or National Guard, there would have been no problem. If they had 200, that would have been. I offered 10,000 if they needed them. There would have been no problem. That's been now totally disproven. And it's also been disproven by Nancy Pelosi's daughter, who has her on tape saying it was her fault, that she has full responsibility for this. And they have all that stuff. They destroyed everything. And they go through a year and a half, 2 years of nonsense. They come up with tremendous evidence, and they destroyed evidence. And Schiff knew about it. That's why he's on there. He knew all about the destruction of evidence. A lot of people said he's the one that got him to do it. And he's a crooked guy, you know, totally crooked politician. And so he's pardoned, and some other people are pardoned. And these are crooked politicians, every one of them. Benny Johnson, what he did is incredible. I mean, he was the leader of the committee, and he did it. Cheney, crying Adam Kinzinger, all of them. They destroyed evidence and deleted everything. There's nothing. There's no evidence now. They're crooked politicians, and they should be punished. You know, that's even in a civil trial, you go to jail for a thing like that. They destroyed every document, from what I understand, every document, because it proved that I was totally innocent.
Do you plan to send up to 10,000 troops to the southern border, sir?
Yeah. Oh, southern border?
Yes,
When
the
you
border.
say southern border, when I said 10,000 troops, I was referring to the capital.
Oh, I see. And
No,
when
you
does
got it
that?
wrong.
When
I
do
was
you
referring to
plan?
the
When do you
capital.
plan to
I
do
offered
that?
10,000 troops to the capital before January 6th.
And as for the 1,500 at the southern border, sir, to clarify, what exactly do you want them to be doing right now?
Making sure that the border is safe and secure, and that criminals don't come into our country.
Mr. President, do you think that sanctions on Russia will force President Putin to negotiate?
I don't know, but I think he should make a deal.
Mr. President, does it bother you that Elon Musk criticized a deal that you made publicly, that he said that he tweeted that?
No, it doesn't. He hates one of the people in the deal.
Have you spoken to him since then?
No, I've spoken to Elon, but I've spoken to all of them, actually. No, the people in the deal are very, very smart people. But Elon, one of the people he happens to hate, but I have certain hatreds of people, too.
Sir,
You know?
sir, on China, what do you think Xi Jinping can do on the Ukraine-Russia war?
Which one?
The Ukraine-Russia war, what can Xi Jinping do about that?
China?
Yeah.
They have a lot of power over Russia. They supply energy to Russia. And Russia supplies energy to them. They supply other things to, it's really a very big trade. It's a very big trading partner. But Russia supplies a lot of energy to China. China pays them a lot of money for that. And I think they have a lot of power over Russia. So
he's literally right about this,
Russia
by the way. He's not, I mean, he is right. Like, this paired up with the fact that he keeps saying that he wants to talk to the Russian side as well, once again, is like the unique moments where Donald Trump, albeit still invested heavily in the machinations of American empire, will maybe stray away a little bit from the way that the Democrats operate, if that makes sense. Like, it's almost identical to the Gaza situation. I still don't think that he's going to shut down the Ukraine operation in its entirety, or push like the Russia to stop somehow, or convince Russia to stop somehow, because like I said, there's too much money to be made for the military industrial complex. Ow. But even in the way that he communicates on this stuff, like he's able to do it in a very common sense. He's able to do it in a way where it's just like the average person kind of understands as well. He was wrong. Russia supplies China with energy. Yeah, but if you think that China doesn't have tremendous influence over Russia, I mean, you're crazy. China does have tremendous influence over Russia. China has consistently told Vladimir Putin to, dial it back, scale it back. There are reports from Western press that say that Xi might have been partially responsible for Russia stopping the usage of nukes even. Okay? So, like, these are the kinds of things that in the interim, I think Donald Trump will get aesthetic W's over. And he also is very good at communicating in the right way. And in a way where, like, I think if the liberal media automatically is anti whatever he's doing, okay, they're going to come across more like warmongers, and Trump is going to come across, in the eyes of the American public at least, as the guy who does definitely want to stop the wars when he doesn't, right? Do you see what I'm saying? I don't believe that Donald Trump is a peaceful dove. I mean, that much is clear. It's clear from his first term. He was never a peaceful dove. He never actually he never actually operated in that way at all. That was a complete lie, right? Having said that, however, I think he does a better job of marketing himself as that than the Democrats do. Hey, Hasan, there's a protest for Palestine tonight in Tokyo. Why don't you pull up? Maybe. That sounds dope. Anyway, will Trump get the Nobel Peace Prize if he stops Russia? Because Obama also got that and doesn't deserve it. Maybe. Why'd you say Porter Robinson? That sounds awesome, though. Pro-Palestine rally. Don't worry, I brought my keffiyeh with me, too. I was on a panel of dumb Trumpers on TikTok. The host stated that Dubai gave Trump a few $100 billion. Do you think that's true, Hasan? All the Gulf states have glazed Donald Trump and also offered a tremendous amount of money to Donald Trump. That's not false. Like they got a bunch of weapons contracts. They all did that for sure. Like more so than even previous administrations, I would say.
We'll make a deal. Maybe they want to make a deal. I think from what I hear, Putin would like to see me, and we'll meet as soon as we can. I'd meet immediately. Every day we don't meet, soldiers are being killed in a battlefield. And that battlefield is like no battlefield since World War II. That's
Ukraine wants
and I have pictures that you don't want to see. Soldiers are being killed on a daily basis at numbers that we haven't seen in decades. And it'd be nice to end that war. It's a ridiculous war.
You said that Ukraine's ready to make a deal. Did President Zelensky tell you that personally?
Yeah, sure. He's ready to negotiate a deal. He'd like to stop. He's
like if this is the end point, I'm still not certain that this will happen. And the reasons for why I'm not certain that this will happen is because there's too much money to be made off of like Ukraine being in a permanent state of war. Like a lot of that investment has to go somewhere else, right? Having said that, however, this was inevitable. All wars end in treaties. Okay? This was my point from the start, that the American government never had any honest interest in defending Ukraine. They had no interest in Ukrainian emancipation, just like they had no interest in ever allowing Ukraine to be a part of NATO. And a lot of people yelled at me in this time frame. And so many people had to die for everyone to finally come to this point, I guess, where so many people had to die for other people to finally reach that conclusion where they're like, okay, maybe there isn't enough manpower left in Ukraine, and it would be worse overall if they lowered the age of conscription to 18 and started at gunpoint forcing, children basically to go and die in this endless war. So if that was the case, as I said was going to happen, and if that's what we're facing down right now, don't you think that Biden, or at least like not Biden because he's decrepit, but don't you think that the competent administrators that are in the Biden administration, don't you think that they could have foreseen this as well? And maybe it would have been better off overall if they were the ones who they were the ones who brought Russia to the table to start the conversations, and not just for like hostage negotiations, but in general, to see what their demands were, to start the negotiation process. Are you nervous that you might be shut down by Trump? I mean, a little bit, for sure. Like, it's obvious that like everything that this current government has said so far is pretty open. Like he literally wants to deport people who are pro-Palestine. Like he wants to deport students who are pro-Palestine. That's what he said, So if that's the case, then yeah, people like myself are a genuine threat. People like myself were a genuine threat to the Democratic administration as well. But I think that the Trump administration is not above eroding that standard of free speech in that regard. That's what I think. Does that scare you at all? Don't you have birthright citizenship? Yes, I do. I'm not talking about me being deported. I'm just using that as an example. Also, he's talked about denaturalization as well. So that's another side of the story. But that's not what I'm talking about. I'm not saying I'm going to get deported. I'm saying an administration that openly says they want to deport foreign students for suspected of being pro-Palestine is obviously going to do a bunch of stuff before they get there in terms of censorship for American citizens who are pro-Palestine as well. That's what I meant. I wasn't trying to say that he's going to deport me. I mean, just flat out lying law. Wait, what? Not pro-Palestine, pro-Hamas, just lying law. Okay, chatter. Let's say it's pro-Hamas, okay, which is the governing party of Gaza right now. But even then, you think that's appropriate to deport someone? Also, what do you think people get mad at me over? You think people get mad at me because they're like, Hasan is pro-Palestine? No, they say I'm pro-Hamas, dumbass. They say I'm pro-Hamas and pro the Ayatollah. The f*** are you talking about? That is what it is. Being pro-Palestine in the eyes of the American government is being pro-Hamas. They're not going to say we're going to start deporting students for wanting Palestinian emancipation. It's called marketing. Why can't people ever understand this? Why is this so difficult to understand? Every American with like three operating processors inside of their minds understand that all politicians lie, okay? They lie all the time. But when it comes to their favorite politician, those cells erode, okay? All of a sudden, they go, nah, this is actually valid. This is real. It is actually about, deporting people who are pro-Hamas. Even then, that's ridiculous, okay? Even then, it's ridiculous to be like, oh, you're pro-Hamas, so we're deporting you. But like, that's not a standard that you can apply to begin with. But having said that, they're not going to apply that rigid standard to people who are pro-Hamas. They're just going to say everyone who's pro-Palestine is pro-Hamas because that's what they say anyway. Why are you so stupid? That's what I don't understand about a lot of these people that will sit here and be like, well, all politicians lie. All they care about is like the corporate oligarchy or whatever. And then they'll turn around and be like, yeah, I believe Donald Trump when he says they're only deporting violent criminal immigrants. The current structure in the United States of America is that if an undocumented migrant has committed a violent crime, depending on the severity of the crime and depending on the other legal circumstances, legal jurisdiction circumstances, they most likely will get permanent jail, okay? And in some instances, they might get deported. But in most instances, they just go to jail. That's how it works. The idea that like violent undocumented migrants are not being apprehended and going through the court system is so insane to me. I don't know how people just run with this reality. And part of the reason why they go to jail instead of being deported is because if you deport an undocumented migrant that is like, let's say, a serial killer, okay, what happens when the country that he was deported back to doesn't actually have the same legal structure or have the same interest in apprehending him permanently or even have the facilities? Okay, so he can just come back to America. Is that better? No, that's the reason why they don't deport every undocumented migrant. Dumbasses. Do you want someone who has, let's say, killed American citizens to be able to walk free in their home nation? No, you want them to go to jail. That's what I want. That's why it's so stupid when people say, oh, dude, I can't believe they're not deporting these undocumented migrants that did crimes. It's like, yeah, dog, of course. If they've murdered a bunch of people, yeah, they should go to jail. What are you talking about? Prison abolition who? I'm sorry, dude. This is not about undocumented migrants or anyone. If you kill someone, okay, it is understandable that there is going to be some punishments, okay? Your freedom of movement should absolutely be restricted. I'm not having this conversation with you guys right now. You're out of your mind. The point is, they don't actually apprehend in the new protocols. That's literally, yes, that's the other part. Exactly. That's literally how MS-13 was created. Gang members that were in American prisons were deported back from the United States to El Salvador without literally telling the El Salvadoran government that they were sending back gang members. Okay? And yeah, American gang members that had a connection with the United States of America all of a sudden were able to basically capture the entirety of the government. That's literally how MS-13 became the gang that it is. And initially it started because, lo and behold, guess what? Shocker, that the El Salvadoran people were getting over with no access to government initiatives. Like, they had to resort to black market means. Then they went to prison, became more violent in that process, because when you go to prison, you become a worse criminal, or rather a better criminal, I guess, but a worse person overall. Anyway, yeah, also there was one instance of us, there were two instances, I think. Florida student protester deported back to Colombia following suspension. There was two. There was another one. It was like at Dartmouth or something that they were trying to deport as well. So like that already had started. This isn't to say that like the Biden administration was great at obviously dealing with student protesters. Chatter, I mean, come on. I've talked about this quite a bit. 3,100 arrests were made under the Democratic leadership in supposedly the free nation, the freest nation on earth.
Somebody that lost a lot of soldiers, and so did Russia. Lost a lot. Russia lost more soldiers.
Not Dartmouth, Cornell, maybe.
800,000 soldiers. Would you say that's a lot? I'd say it's a lot.
Mr. President, you said that you wanted to make Dr. King's dream a reality. What's your response to his children and civil rights leaders who say that your DEI orders are a contradiction of his dream and could further drive racial disparities?
Well, I haven't heard that.
Mr. President,
That's it. I haven't heard
back
what
on
they
the terror list. How do you see the war in Yemen end?
Well, we'll see what happens, but they can't shoot down our ships, the Houthis.
Yes.
They're not. You can't shoot down our ships or any ships, and that's what they've been doing. So,
see, this is where his dick riding of Saudi Arabia puts him in the same category as Brandon, right? This is where Donald Trump's Saudi loyalty actually cooks his foreign policy perspective, because Brandon went after the Houthis as aggressively as he could, and it went nowhere, right? It went nowhere. Donald Trump comes in, and if he tries to escalate in the same way instead of putting together a ceasefire deal and also treating the Ansar Allah administration as the current government of Yemen, because that is what it is. Okay. That's a much better way to deal with the process rather than trying to dominate them, because it doesn't work. I think like I read this dude who talked about like North Korea. I read something on Twitter who talked about how like the DPRK played a fairly formative role in tunnel warfare, and how the DPRK, North Korea, is like the most complex tunnel system on the planet because of the Korean War, and how they basically brought that over to the Viet Cong, and that the Viet Cong also then brought that over to, made its way to Iran. The North Koreans made its way to Iran with their tunnel structures as well, and like basically underground facilities that that evade surveillance, but more importantly, bombings, and how that also basically redefined warfare for Hamas and Hezbollah as well. So in that regard, you just kind of can't deal with it, you know? You just can't deal with people who, like, we have all this complex machinery. We have all of these complex munitions. We have all of these mechanisms of warfare, a million different ways to evaporate babies from afar. And yet, ironically enough, all of those technological advancements still get owned by dirt. Put enough dirt in front of it and it's impenetrable. Think about that. Think about how crazy that is. Like, you got dirt, ingenuity, engineering, a shovel, and the results are clear. I mean, look at Gaza. Look at Gaza. Look at North Gaza. Like 3-4 days before the ceasefire finally was implemented, they walked back in. The Israeli occupying force walked back into one of the most destroyed parts of North Gaza and got their blown. Okay, five troops now post-mortem general troops that were 17, 19, 18 years old got their shit blown up. It's crazy. In North Gaza, they tried to ethnically cleanse that entire territory, and they still have not dealt with Hamas there. The reason why I'm bringing this up is because a similar thing happens with, it was 15 troops, not 5, sorry. A similar thing is happening with Yemen, okay? As long as people are willing to fight back, as long as they are willing, unless you break the people's will, and seemingly enough, you can't break these people's will at all, especially the Yemeni people, holy moly. Like, there is just no way to deal with it unless you like nuke Yemen, I guess.
On the terror list, that's not good for them.
So why did you revoke security protections for former Secretary of State Mike Pompeo and Brian Hook?
Well, the same reason I did. When you have protection, you can't have it for the rest of your life. Do you want to?
Wait, 21 Israeli troops are killed in the deadliest attack on military in Gaza since the Gaza offensive began. Wait, when did this happen? 21? Oh, on Tuesday. A significant setback that could add to mounting calls for a ceasefire. Wait, this is from before, right? Why is this from today? Oh, it's 2024. Oh my God. I was like, what is going on? Bro, y'all are so dumb. No, I'm talking about the recent thing that happened, not 2024. Jesus Christ. Gaza is clear surface. Yemen is mostly mountains, which makes it even harder to deal with. Yeah, bro, the Saudis learned that lesson too. That's the other part of the story. Is like, I don't even think the Saudis want that smoke. So maybe they'll get into Trump's ear and be like, hey, let's pack this up. Let's not do this.
On a large detail of people guarding people for the rest of their lives. I mean, there's risks to everything.
So would you support striking Iran's nuclear facilities?
Say it.
Would you support Israel, for example, striking nuclear facilities?
Well, I'm not going to answer that. Not that question. We'll have to see. I'm going to be meeting with various people over the next couple of days. We'll see. But hopefully that could be worked out without having to worry about it. It would be nice. It would really be nice if that could be worked out without having to go that further step.
And who are you going to meet?
How did you cut your shirt? What do you mean? With scissors? Are there basketball courts out here? Because the weather is not too bad. The weather is not so bad that it's like impossible to play basketball outdoors, I think. Am I crazy? But you guys don't like basketball anyway. You hate when I stream basketball. Why are you suggesting that? You know? Yeah, the weather is like nice. As a gaffer, I'm flying out to Japan to fix the lighting issue. Big dog, don't worry about it. Thanks, man. Hey, bud, when are you going to visit Uncle Ho, your true uncle? Oh, don't worry. I want to go to Vietnam real bad. Who's all on the trip with you? The trip is massive. Like, we are just fear end. So it's me, Austin, Will, Caroline's here as well. March is here. And outside of us, like the roomies are here, I think, like all of them. Nice Wig is here. They're all not Cutie. Cutie's not here, of course. So there's so many people here. All right, let's continue.
Well, I'd rather not say that, but very high-level people. But hopefully that can be worked out. You know, look, Iran hopefully will make a deal, and if they don't make a deal, I guess that's okay too.
Hey, Mr. President, just to follow up, you said you think the Fed should listen to you. Can you elaborate on why you think it should?
With regard to interest rates?
Correct, yes.
Because I think I know interest rates much better than they do. And I think I know it certainly much better than the one who's primarily in charge of making that decision. But no, I'm guided by them very much. But if I disagree, I will let it be known.
Sir, your tariffs plans for China and Mexico are much tougher. The ones for Canada and Mexico are much tougher than the one for China. Why is it softer for China?
Well, China's already paying a lot of tariffs because of me. And when you add them up, I would say, you know, they're paying a lot. They paid hundreds of billions of dollars. They never paid 10 cents until I came along. When I came along, they've paid hundreds of billions of dollars. Never paid anything. And so they've already started at a higher base.
Is February 1st the date for Chinese tariffs as well, sir? February 1, or was that just Mexico and Canada?
It's Mexico and Canada, but we're talking about China too. Look, China's sending.
Okay, it seems like it's still blown up. Yeah. I like that the media is like, hey, can you please attack China harder? Why aren't you doing that? Please go to the Tokari Center to see the seals. They are so cute. Are you still meeting up with Hideo Kojima? No, that's not going to happen. Kojima Studios invited me initially, but they are heavily dominated by Death Stranding 2 right now. So they said that it's not going to happen, which is kind of an L. I know it's a real bummer. Trust me. I really wanted to go. I was really excited, and I'm not going to be able to do that. The Kojima Productions one. So I'm not getting scanned. I'm getting scammed instead. Cancel the trip? Yeah, true. Next year, bro. Next year. That's what they said. They literally were like, oh, well, we'll have more time in the future. And it's like, yeah, I'll just come back to Japan, I guess. All right, let's continue with this news.
Tremendous amounts of bad drugs, fentanyl, really bad stuff. Most of it comes through Mexico. And we're losing, I think, 300,000 lives a year because of that. People say 150.
Dude, he's like, dude, it's like, I love the connection that it's actually, you know, it's the fentanyl deaths are directly because of the migrants, and it's all coming in from Mexico, and it's Mexico's fault. And yeah, they're killing 300. Bro, it's easy to balance the light. All you need is a reflector to balance out the light. I don't know what you mean. I don't know how to do that. Anyway, I'm not going to do that right now. Don't worry about it. Let's just keep going.
100, 120. I think 300,000 lives a year. Those are old numbers. The lower number is a low number, and we can't have that. They've got to stop sending it. I had a deal with President Xi, but it was a deal that wasn't followed up by Biden, of course, where they were going to issue the death penalty to people that make fentanyl, and that would have stopped it. But we'll have to stop it with tariffs. Okay, thank you very much, everybody.
All right, guys. Thanks,